And now it's time to go on location to Bunratty Castle and Folk Park to join two of Ireland's internationally known stars. They're Tommy Makem and Liam Clancy, and they're the Music Makers.
Trip, Joe. You coming to the show? Good, man.
Couldn't we see you inside? It's nice to be home again, Sissy. The old spot wants to
We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams. Wandering by lone sea breakers or sitting by desolate streams. World movers and world forsakers on whom the pale moon gleams. Yet we are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems.
Get up them steps.
I think this is where these medieval fellas kept fit walking up these stairs.
Climbing the dizzying heights of success, but it's ridiculous. Here we are.
Well, lads, you made it. How's the sound?
Oh, look at that. Oh, where King Cora's Brian the Great? And where is the beauty that once was thine? And where are the princes and nobles that sate at the feast in thy halls and drank the red wine? Where, O King Cora?
By Maurice McCluskey, slanting al the boring, there's come on the cooling, no more. It's by Maurice McCluskey, this real Shalon. Coigan dot yon, is me yon sainena, gaina dar a sparren, is me yachari the rager. Richard or a gain, agus fleischka kela, es the babe and the torna, cossin my flotchin head up, es by Maurice McCluskey, is me of Shalon. By Maurice McCluskey, slancha gal of morning, is hammer on the pooling, no ball. Es by Maurice McCluskey, is me of Shalon. Is Caretza, my vansa, the cashel naughty lula, by island laughing in the hook, she kunsa, knock me on crowera, eg shol na doha, a laragan chanish, giveras and by a roku indi, is by Maurice McCluskey, this be of Shalon. By Maurice McCluskey, chanting out the morning, is hammer the cooling, don't Agus fagets am abanach, ag a mainter a tisha, the rare mar a hashi dog, agus criana, mar ni vainche kara, then a clerk, then a clear, Gava sing on dealing, brave walk and chan a hisha, is by Maurice McCluskey, is beer Shalon. By Maurice McCluskey, slanting al the morning, is hammer on the pooling, no ball. It's by Maurice McCluskey, is beer Shalon. By Maurice McCluskey, slanting al the morning, is hammer on the pooling, no ball. It's by Maurice McCluskey, is beer Shalon. find the big squadrons on sailors' green veil. On every mountaineer, strangers to flight or fear, push to the standard of dauntless renew. On up and gallowed lass, thrown from each mountain pass, onward for air and no O'Donnell. Princely O'Neill to our aid is advancing with many a chieftain and warrior clan. 1,000 proud steeds in his vanguard are prancing, the orders brave from the banks of the Bann. Many a heart shall quail under its coat of mail, deeply the merciless foeman shall prove. When on his ears shall ring, borne on the breezes winged, here Connal's dread war cry, O'Donnell move. Desmond, the war wolf is howling, fearless the eagle sweeps over the plain. The fox in the streets of the city is prowling, and all who would scare them are banished or slain. On with O'Donnell, then fight the old fight again. Sons of Tyrmannel are valiant and true. Wake up, proud Saxonville, errands of vengeance feel straight. For your country, O'Donnell move. Yeah!
My lords and ladies, pray silence, please, while the ladies sing a madrigal. Beautiful, young lady, beautiful. Oh, minstrel, what tidings do you bring?
A story, my lord, you may find amusing. It seems that Patrick O'Kelly, the great poet, while travelling in the vicinity of Doneraile, had his watch and chain stolen. Now, this so incensed O'Kelly that he sat down and he wrote a poem. He said, "My lass, how dismal is my tale. I lost my watch in Doneraile. My Dublin watch, my chain and sail, pilfered at once in Doneraile. May fire and brimstone never fail to fall in showers on Doneraile. May all the leading fanes assail the thieving town of Doneraile. As lightnings flash across the vale, so down to hell with Doneraile. The fate of Pompey and Farsail, be that the curse of Doneraile. May beef or mutton, lamb or veal be never found in Doneraile. But garlic soup and scurvy kale, be that the food of Doneraile. And forward as the creeping snail the industry be of Doneraile. May heaven a chosen curse entail on rigid, rotten Doneraile. May sun and moon forever fail to shed their light on Doneraile. May every pestilential gale blast that cursed spot called Doneraile. May Sodom's curse at once prevail and sink to ashes Doneraile. May Sharon's boat triumphant sail, completely manned from Doneraile. Oh, may my couplets never fail to find new curse for Doneraile, and may grim Pluto's inner jail forever groan with Doneraile.
That is scurrilous.
I thought so myself, my lord. And apparently so did O'Kelly. And so did Lady Doneraile, because when she heard of the incident, she immediately presented a brand new gold watch and chain to O'Kelly. And O'Kelly was so pleased that he sat down and he wrote, "How vastly pleasing is my tale. I found my watch in Doneraile. My Dublin watch, my chain and seal were all restored in Doneraile. May fire and brimstone ever fail to hurt or injure Doneraile. May neither friend nor foe assail the friendly town of Doneraile. May lightning never singe the veil that leads to generous Doneraile. May Pompey's fate and old far sail be still reversed at Doneraile. May beef and mutton, lamb and veal plentiful be in Doneraile. Yes. May garlic soup and scurvy kale no palate spoil in Doneraile. May neither frog nor creeping snail retard the crops of Doneraile. Right. May heaven a chosen bliss entail on honest, friendly Doneraile. Yes. May Sodom's curse forever fail to hurt or injure Doneraile. But may each wish and prayer prevail and crown with peace sweet Doneraile."
Now cease this unseemly hilarity. Our other minstrel will now sing Carrickfergus.
I wish I was in Carrickfergus only for night in Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean, the deepest ocean, my love to find. But the sea is wide, and I can't swim over, and neither have I wings to fly. I wish I could meet a handsome gold man to ferry me over, my love and I. But in Kilkenny it is reported they have marble stones there as black as ink, with gold and silver I did support her. But I'll sing no more until I get a drink. I'm drunk today, and I'm seldom sober. A handsome rover from town to town. Ah, but I'm sick now. My days are numbered. Come all you young men and lay down.
More Ishkabaha all round. While our minstrels sing a jug of punch.
One pleasant evening in the month of June, as I was sitting with my glass and spoon, a small bird sat on an ivy bunch, and the song he sang was a jug of punch. Tooraloo-raloo, 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 tooraloo-raloo. A small bird sat on an ivy bunch, and the song he sang was a jug of punch. What more diversion can a boy desire than to sit him down by a snug turf fire? Upon his knee a pretty wench, aye, and on the table a jug of punch. Tooraloo-raloo, 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 tooraloo-raloo. Upon his knee a pretty wench, aye, and on the table a jug of punch. The immortal gods drink their nectar wine, and the quality folk drink their claret fine. I'd give them all the grapes in the punch for a jolly pull on a jug of punch. And tooraloo-raloo, 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 tooraloo-raloo. I'd give them all the grapes in the punch for a jolly pull on a jug of punch. And if I get drunk, well, the money's me own, and them that don't like me, they can leave me alone. I'll tune me fiddle and I'll rosin me bow, and I'll be welcome wherever I go. Tooraloo-raloo, 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 tooraloo-raloo. I'll tune me fiddle and I'll rosin me bow, and I'll be welcome wherever I go. And when I'm dead, I am in my grave. No costly tombstone will I have. Just lay me down in my native peat, with a jug of punch at my head and feet. Tooraloo-raloo, 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 tooraloo-raloo. Just lay me down in my native peat, with a jug of punch at my head and feet.
So eat up, drink up, and enjoy yourselves. Musicians, merry music!
Listen to them, will you? The old ghosts are at it still. As I went a walking one morning in spring, I met with some travellers in an old country lane. One was an old man, the second and a maid, and the third was a young boy who smiled as he said, "We've the wind in the willows and the birds in the sky. We've a bright sun to warm us wherever we lie. We have bread and fishes and a jug of red wine to share on our journey with all of mankind." I asked them to tell me their name and their race, so I might remember their kindness and grace. "My name is Joseph, this is Mary my wife, and this is our young son, our pride and delight. We've traveled the whole world by land and by sea to tell all the people how they might be free. Like the wind in the willows and the birds in the sky, we've a bright sun to warm us wherever we lie. We have bread and fishes and a jug of red wine to share on our journey with all of mankind. Sadly, I left them in that old country lane, for I knew that I never would see them again. One was an old man, the second a maid, and the third was a young boy who smiled as he said, "We've the wind in the willows and the birds in the sky. We've a bright sun to warm us wherever we lie. We have bread and fishes and a jug of red wine to share on our journey with all of mankind." Well, while we give the dancers a rest, what do you say? Will I tell them a story? Will I tell them a story, love? Sit down there and I'll tell them. Once upon a time, and a very good time it was, a turkey smoked a baccy, and a very good baccy it was. A mouse carried a house, and a very good house it was. And a pig ran through the stubble with a knife and a fork stuck in his bottom, crying, "Who'll eat me? Who'll eat me?" And it was about that time that they used to have in Ireland the hiring fairs. And the boys and the girls from the small farms, you see, with the big families, would go to the town of the hiring fair. And in there would come the wealthy farmers from the big farms and the small families. And they'd come and they'd hire the boys and the girls. That's the way it was. At this particular hiring fair, anyway, everybody had been hired except one poor, misfortunate little girl, like you were saying. And there she was in the twilight of the evening. And she's standing with the tears streaming down her face because all her friends, all the boys and all the girls were gone. And whatever look she gave to the right-hand side, maybe it was the tears in her eyes, maybe it was the twilight or what, but didn't she see the most peculiar-looking little man that you ever saw in your life standing next to her? He had outlandish old-fashioned clothes on, you know, and turned up little points on his shoes. And he says to her, "Did nobody hire you, little girl?" "No, sir," she said, "nobody." "Well," he said, "my name," he says, "is Don Nippericepto. Would you come along with me?" She said, "I never heard a name like that before, sir, but since nobody else hired me, I'll go along with you." And what did they do? But they climbed up a high hill and they traveled down into a low valley and they went along a straight road that was all full of twists and turns until they came to a little thatched cottage. He says to her, "That's where I live, little girl. What would you call that?" "I'd call it a hut or a house or whatever you please, sir." "Oh, no, no, no," he said. "No, that, little girl," he said, "is the great castle of Strawbungle." "Will you remember that now, little girl, the great castle of Strawbungle?" Well, in they went, and the little girl said she was going to remember everything because she wanted to stay in that job, you see. And they got in, and the fire was gone almost in the hearth. And she started putting a couple of sods of turf on the fire like that, you see. And as it began to blaze up, he said to her, "What do you call that, little girl?" "I'd call that the hot or the heat or whatever you please, sir." "No, no, no, little girl," he said. "That is hot cockalorum. Now remember that. And it's time now that we had the tea." Well, she's pouring the water into the kettle, you know, with the pannikin like they used to in the old days. And he said, "What do you call that, little girl?" "I call that the wet or the water or whatever you please." "That," he says, "is pondelorum." She'd never heard a word like that before, but sure, that's what he was going to call it. That's what he was going to call it. Well, as the fire began to blaze up, who should come in but the cat? And the cat sat down beside the fire and he started purring. "What do you call that, little girl?" "I'd call that the cat or the kit or whatever you please, sir." "Indeed, little girl, your education is sadly lacking," he said. "That is white-faced simony. Now remember that, little girl." Well, the kettle was boiling and the cat was purring away, and Don Nippericepto, he began to take off the boots, you know, and he says, "What do you call these, little girl?" She says, "Those are your brogues or your boots or whatever you please, sir." "Indeed they are not, little girl," he said. "Those are my hay-down treaders." "And do you see these?" he says. "What do you call those?" "Those are your breeks or your breeches or whatever you please, sir." "Those, little girl," he says, "are my fortune's crackers." Now remember that, little girl. "I'll show you now, little girl," he says, "where you're going to sleep. Up the steps." They didn't have stairs in those days, you know, it was ladders up to a loft. "What do you call that, little girl?" he says. "Call that the steps or stairs or whatever you please, sir." "That, little girl," he says, "is the wooden hill." And he shows her the bunk. 'Twas straw, of course, in those days, you know, with a bit of cover thrown over it. And he said, "What do you call that, little girl?" "That's the bed or the bunk or whatever you please, sir." "Little girl," he said, "have you had no education at all?" "That is the barnacle. The barnacle, remember that now." Well, off, of course, he goes to his own quarters and after the day's travelling and everything, sound asleep, sound asleep. But doesn't he wake up in the middle of the night with a banging on the door like that? And he jumped up and he said, "What is it? Is that you, little girl?" And here's the answer he gets. "Rise up from your barnacle, Don Nipper put on your fortunes crackers and your hay down treaders quick and come down the wooden hill, because Whiteface Simony has a spark of hot cockalorum on his tail, and unless we pour Pondalorum on it quick, the whole castle of Strawbungle is going to be up in hot cockalorum."
Have I a wife? Be damn I have. But we were badly mated. One night I hit her a terrible thump. Now we're separated. Morning's going to my work, I meet her on the quay. "Good morning to you, ma'am," says I. "The hell with you," says she. "Oh, my name is Dick Darby, I'm a cobbler. I served my time at the old camp. Some call me an old agitator, but now I'm resolved to repent. With me ing-twing of an ing-ting of an ido, with me ing-twing of an ing-ting of an ide, with me roo-boo-boo, randy, and me lobstone keeps baiting away. Now my father was hung for sheep stealing, my mother was born for a witch, my sister's a dandy housekeeper, and I'm a mechanical switch. With me ing-twing of an ing-ting of an ido, with me ing-twing of an ing-ting of an ide, with me roo-boo-boo, randy, and me lobstone keeps baiting away. This 40 long years I have travelled, all by the contents of me pack, me hammers, me awls, and me pincers, I carry them all on me back. With me twing of an thing of a night, oh. With me twing of an thing of a night, with me roo-boo-boo, Randy, and me lobstone keeps baiting away. Now my wife, she is humpy, she's lumpy. My wife, she's the devil, she's cracked. And no matter what I may do with her tongue it goes clickety-clack. With me twing of an thing of a night, oh. With me twing of an thing of a night, with me roo-boo-boo, Randy, and me lobstone keeps baiting away. It was early one fine summer's morning, a little before it was day. I dipped her 3 times in the river and carelessly bade her good day. With me twing of an thing of a night, oh. With me twing of an thing of a night, with me roo-boo-boo, Randy, and me lobstone keeps baiting away. Thank you, neighbours, thank you. Listen, I'm going to give them the turn of Ballybay where the blood's hot, lads. Strike it up.
Good man, I'll join you.
When we ring-a-ding-a-dong, a ring-a-ding-a-daddy-o, a ring-a-ding-a-dong. Hi, on the daddy-o, down of Ballybay, there was a lassie dwelling, and knew her very well, and her story's worth the telling. Her father kept a still, and he was a good distiller, but when she took to the drink, well, the devil wouldn't fill her. With me ring-a-ding-a-dong, a ring-a-ding-a-daddy-o, a ring-a-ding-a-dong. Hi, on the daddy-o. And she had a wooden leg that was hollow down the middle. She used to tie a string on it and play it like a fiddle. She fiddled in the hall, she fiddled in the alleyway. She didn't give a damn, for she had a fiddle anyway. A ring-a-ding-a-dong, a ring-a-ding-a-daddy-o, a ring-a-ding-a-dong. Oh, full the daddy-o. And she said she couldn't dance unless she had her welly on, but when she had it on, she could dance as well as anyone. She wouldn't go to bed unless she had her shimmy on, but when she had it on, she would go to bed as anyone. A ring-a-ding-a-dong, a ring-a-ding-a-daddy-o, a ring-a-ding-a-dong. Oh, I pull the daddy-o. She had lovers by the score, every Tom and Dick and Harry. She was good night and day, but still she wouldn't marry. And then she fell in love with the fellow with the stammer. When he tried to run away, she hit him with the hammer. With me ring-a-ding-a-dong, a ring-a-ding-a-daddy-o, a ring-a-ding-a-dong. Oh, I pull the daddy-o. She had children up the stairs, she had children in the byre, and another 10 or 12 sitting roaring by the fire. She fed them on potatoes and soup she made with nettles, and lumps of hairy bacon that she boiled up in the kettle. With me ring-a-ding-a-dong, a ring-a-ding-a-daddy-o, a ring-a-ding-a-dong. Oh, I pull the daddy-o. So she led a sheltered life, eating porridge and black pudding, and she terrorised her man until he died right sudden. And when the husband died, she was feeling awful sorry. She rolled him in the bag and she threw him in the quarry. With me ring-a-ding-a-dong, a ring-a-ding-a-daddy-o, a ring-a-ding-a-dong. How I pull the daddy-o. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got now. All of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got now. Listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with a big to-do, and the old cow just goes moo. And the dogs and the cats, they take out the middle where the honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles, the donkey berays and the pony neighs, and the old great badger sighs. Oh, all of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got now. Listen to the top with the little bird singing on the melodies
and the high notes ringing, and the hoot owl cries over everything, and the blackbird disagrees.
And it's singing in the night time, singing in the day. The little duck quacks and he's on his way, and the otter hasn't got much to say. And the porcupine talks to himself. Oh, all of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just snap their hands, a pause, or anything they got now.
It's a simple song, a living song everywhere, by the ox and the fox and the grizzly bear, the grumpy alligator and the hawk above, the sly old weasel and the turtle dove. All of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, a pause, or sing it now. All of God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low and some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, a pause, or anything they got now.
This one you can't sing rowdy. It's nice, quiet, it's a love song. And it says, red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any.
Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any. Come over the hills, my bonny Irish lass. Come over the hills to your darling. You choose the road, love, and I'll make the vow, and I'll be your true love forever. And red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any. 'Twas down by Killarney's green woods that we strayed, when the moon and the stars, they were shining. The moon shone its rays on her locks of golden hair, and she swore she'd be my love forever. Oh, red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Oh, clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any. 'Tis not for the parting with my sister Kate. 'Tis not for the grief of my mother, 'tis all for the loss of my bonny Irish lass, that my heart is breaking forever. And red is the rose that in yonder garden grows, fair is the lily of the valley, clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than that. It's too nice to stop there, sing it again. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows, fair is the lily of the valley, and clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than
Lovely. Thank you very much. Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave you. The man that made time didn't make enough of it, but I wish he had, because you're bloody terrific. I wish we could bottle your blood and sell it or something. And I hope until we meet again that your porridge will never be lumpy or anything sad like that happened to you, as the man said when his wife ran away and the hen stopped laying, and the second tragedy was worse than the first. We're going to leave here the wee song because we have to be rambling on our rambles. This is called The Rambles of Spring. Help us to sing it a bit. There's a piercing wintry breeze blowing through the budding trees, and I button up my coat to keep me warm. But the days are on the mend and I'm on the road again, with me fiddle snuggled close beneath my arm. I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of brogues. I have rosin in my pocket for my bow, that's it. And my fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. I'm as happy as a king when I catch a breath of spring, and the grass is turning green as winter ends, and the geese are on the wing, and the thrushes start to sing, and I'm headed down the road to see my friends. Oh, I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of brogues. I have rosin in my pocket for my bow, and my fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. I have friends in every town as I ramble up and down, making music at the markets and the fairs, through the donkeys and the creels and the farmers making meals, and the yellow-headed tinkers selling wares. I have a fine felt hat and a strong pair of brogues. I have rosin in my pocket for my bow, and my fiddle strings are new, and I learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. Here's a health to one and all, to the big and to the small, to the rich and poor alike, and foe and friend. And when we return again, may our foes have turned to friends, and may peace and joy be with you until then. Sing it. Oh, I have a fine felt hat and a strong pair of brogues. I have rosin in my pocket for my bow, and my fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must give it hell, man. Well, I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of brogues. I have rosin in my pocket for my bow, and my fiddle strings are new, to ramble and must go. Thank you. Well, boys and girls, our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped palaces, the gorgeous towers, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which they inherit shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind.
Hear, hear. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. What I'm asking you in Shakespeare's words is, have you no homes to go to?
God. Tell me Shakespeare wrote that.
We're going to leave you and love you with a little song called The Journey's End. The fire is out, the moon is down, the parting glass is dry and done. And I must go and leave this town before the rising of the sun. And long's the road and far's the mile before I rest my soul again with girls that weep and girls that smile, and all the words and ways of men. For some there are that may not bide, but wander to the journey's end, nor take a girl to be a bride, nor keep a man to be a friend. And when I'm done with wandering, I will sit beside the road and weep for all the songs I did not sing and promises I